I'm Rich McFadden from Lake Hopatcong, waterfront owner, also a licensed engineer. That doesn't mean I'm certified in microbiology, but looking out for the public interest is basically my business. Ms. Commissioner, looking at the data you guys have just posted this afternoon, and I'll say it satirically, I don't know why you didn't present tonight. On the 26th, I would have made the exact same decision. I would have closed the lake. I would have said that we had issues. Your aerial coverage showed 80% coverage of the lake with a bloom. You then repeated a flight on the 28th. It was down to 50%. You repeated a flight on the 30th. It's posted on your site, and 95% of the lake is clear. Explain to me why the flight on the 3rd hasn't been posted, nor the data from the 5th has been posted. At the end of the day, I believe there's a bloom. I believe it needs to be dealt with. All the stormwater issues need to be dealt with. But the damage that can be done from hysterical, inflated media concerns can actually be more devastating than what's going on here. You need to take a hard look at this data that you're now producing and really consider lifting the ban and correcting the damage that's been done to date.
All right, that's a great point, and we are just developing this aerial ability to estimate microcystin or phycocyanin levels using remote sensing. You cannot rely solely on remote sensing. The remote sensing is a tool that allows us to look at large expanses of a lake. We also use the same technology or a similar technology on our coastal flights along the beaches. It allows us to pinpoint where an algal bloom is occurring, and then we can send staff out to take physical samples of the water. We don't have 100% correlation between what that sensor is showing and what the cell counts are. So when we saw that the sensor data was showing that the bloom was dissipating, we put all our boots on the ground. We sent everybody out there to grab samples. We sent them in the lab to analyze those samples, to run the toxins with the hope that we would be able to partially reopen the lake in time for 4th of July. We were very upset when the cell count results came in and did not 100% collaborate what the sensor was telling us. We still had, and there was no pattern. We looked at the main lake, hoping that we'd be able to open up the main lake. We looked at the north. We looked at the south. There was no way that we could define a geographic area and say definitively, go ahead, go back in the water, go back swimming, go back and have primary contact. Our number one concern is public health. We're not trying to hide anything. We're trying to protect people, protect your families, protect your grandchildren, your children. And it was our call based on the science, based on the levels that were developed by our scientists, that we couldn't pull that advisory at the time. And we're going to go out there every Tuesday, every Thursday, and continue to test. As soon as we see levels consistently below that 20,000 cell count, we're going to do everything in our power to lift the advisory, whether it be in sections, whether it be for the whole lake, whatever is supported by the monitoring results. So we did a precautionary closure of the lake and gave an advisory saying don't come in contact. We also did specific closures at specific bathing beaches. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we will, when we see that the cell counts in the main lake are below the 20,000, we will then go out and start testing the beaches. And we're not going to test every single beach. We're going to test beaches that are representative of a larger geographic area. So if it's Byram Cove, we test 2 beaches in Byram Cove. They both pass 2 days in a row. We'll lift it in that entire area. So we're going to try to look at this. We're going to work our way around to the beaches. What we base it on is there's no visual hab anymore, and if the cell counts are below and the toxin levels are below. So we're going to work our way around as rapidly as possible. But I can't guarantee that this is going to happen next week or the week after. These things tend to persist. I think Fred talked about in his presentations, and once they're here, we tend to see them year after year when the conditions present themselves. Hopefully, we're never going to see it the way we saw it earlier last week, where it covered the vast majority of the lake. 80% of the lake was covered with this harmful algal bloom. I don't want to ever see that again. It was an experience that was good for DEP. We didn't revel, we didn't want to do this. We did it to protect public health. And we're committed to do what we can to reduce nutrient phosphorus inputs into the lake through watershed management plans, lake restoration plans, to work with you guys to try to find a long-term answer to this problem. But I'm afraid this is a new paradigm, and this is the new normal. We're going to see this more and more, and we're going to try to ramp up our response and do it in a responsible manner to protect everybody in New Jersey. It's just like on the bathing beaches.